Welcome back to Bus Stops. Today we are going to talk about a picture in the GRTC Bus Stop series that I am working on here in Richmond, Virginia. Started in the year 2024, continuing into the year 2025, and hopefully beyond. We'll see, maybe. Today the picture we're talking about is this one, Triumphant Baptist Church. Wow. Okay, this is a bit of a blast from the past. I took this photo probably in the first handful of shoots that I made. This was back in the winter of 2024. I really remember enjoying this photo, and I still enjoy it now. I've told others, I saw a show recently where there was a photo of like a bus, some people on a bus, and it was at Shako Art Space here in Richmond. It was a series of photos of people in Ukraine, kind of near the border, near the front line of the war and everything. But it was a mix of images of soldiers and munitions and stuff, along with photos of just civilians and kind of life going on in spite of the intensity and the horrors of war so close by. Noah Stone was the photographer. Wonderful work. But there was this just lovely, lovely image in it of some folks sitting on a bus, and the photographer was below the kind of line of the bus and photographing up into the bus. The glass had some of this quality to it where it was partially fogged, partially cloudy, and it just kind of caught the light in an interesting way and partially occluded some of the people on the bus. But the subject of the image was this, I believe, if memory serves, it was an older woman who was kind of looking out over top of the head of the photographer. Awesome image. And I was talking with people at the show, and I said, like, I think that semi-translucent surfaces are like catnip to photographers, and like all the better when it like partially catches light and reveals some things behind it but doesn't reveal other things. And so obviously, like, I remember this was catnip to me when I made this image, and so the only thing that I can really read in this is pastor and come worship. And this like incredibly weathered sign is fantastic. Triumphant Baptist Church. And then a little bit more clear here, hewn into stone. Triumphant Baptist Church, founded April 6, 1909, as 7th Street Baptist, rebuilt 1966 AD. Reverend C.B.F. Hinton, D.D., pastor. So this is a composition I would describe as fussy. I've talked about fussy compositions before, and really there's nothing here, maybe with the possible exception of that little shaft of light right there, that I would change about this image. I would also probably change that light pole right there and maybe that tree. But overall, I think that this composition is pretty much bang on where I want it to be. And there's a lot of like really cool things going on. First of all, the palette of this image is incredibly restrained. So it's primarily blues and oranges. There's just the tiniest kiss of green here on the top of the lamp. And then really that's it. I mean, then it's just like monotone neutral colors mixed in. So that's like a blue, but it's trending towards gray. There's a white right there, but that's trending towards orange. So really this is like orange and blue is the classic color combination of anything. Like if you look up the orange blue color combo, you'll see it. You'll start to see it everywhere. And so this photo, I believe, has been pretty heavily edited. So I think I obviously pushed it in that direction, but it started out with that. There's a lot of really nice textures, like this weathered brick, this, kind of hewn, chipped paint. The icy grass is awesome. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of hyping up my own picture, but I do love this picture. I haven't looked at it in a while, and that's part of the fun of this series is that I can look back at photos that I haven't seen in a while. The fussiness of this composition comes in when we see things like that. Brick is just not even... It's got a nice, decent, like a hand's width. Just it's funny because my cursor is a hand between the edge of the frame, so that's enough separation right there. If I had my way, I would probably have that corner land on the edge of a brick rather than right on the mortar. But that's an incredibly small complaint. We have this window here that just sort of gives a little bit of context and texture up here. Just kind of defines the corner a little bit. I think that corner would be a little bit flaccid if there was nothing up there to sort of root it a little bit. Whereas like this corner is defined by the corner action of that sign itself. Even this little shaft of light sort of does something similar for this corner down here, so I don't totally hate it. But then this kind of just beautiful, just L-shaped frame where almost if you think of like a skewed square in space, like almost this sign itself is what I mean. Like this sort of skewed rectangle shape. Like you almost start to see that echoed in sort of the lower line of that um, the sign, and then how the shadow comes up, and then these lines are straight. Like again, I think I just sort of made sure that every single edge of the vertical lines was straight in this image. So I do again think this has been edited. You see like an echoed shape between those the lamps. You see this beautiful definition of the volume, the form of the lamp, where it's actually if you cover up that shadow with your hand, like that lamp itself looks very flat. But then once you add that shadow, that long raking shadow that comes across, it just pops off. It goes crazy. And I love, like, talk about the messaging of an image. Like, I kind of left things vague when we talked about the church with no roof. But in this case, like, I love that the only thing that you can see here is come worship. And then you have very clearly Triumphant Baptist Church and like weathered, paint stripped, dirty brick, whatever. But like you see this rock, the cornerstone. And like if you know anything about theology, like you know that Christ is the cornerstone of the church, that the church is built on Christ. And so we think about like a solid rock where it literally says Triumphant Baptist Church and says the same thing. And it's very like paint chipped hewn right there. So it's kind of cool to think that, I mean, this obviously seems like an active church. There's no trash, no dirt. The building itself doesn't seem to be in any disrepair. Those look like relatively recent new windows, whereas even though you have this very chipped sign, you have a very clean cornerstone right there. It's rebuilt about 60 years ago. So it's rolling along. You know, it's taking its punches. You know, time is painful and difficult and everything, but I mean, you have the evidence of that, but then you also have the evidence of a solid foundation, the cornerstone right there. There's just a lot of beautiful stuff going on in this photo, which I love. And so again, I've won't apologize too much just for hyping up this photo. I'm thankful to have made it. It's just a fun picture to look at again and talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.